Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a tad nervous. I don't want to be a fool. You know me. I'm always a fool. You don't have to turn your video on. I was just doing it for candid shot's sake. Okay, sounds good. I figure we just start off easy. Just state your name and something only the real Cade would actually know.
Oh, like a self-proving thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bank
So
information.
the bank account you want to rob is 189.
Oh, I think Cinco cut out.
uh, yeah. My name's Cade. I make YouTube videos. I wasn't super popular in high school despite my immense YouTube fame.
That is something only the real Cade would know.
Shocked many with that.
The real reason I wanted to talk to you was I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about your journey starting YouTube and stuff. Me and Cade, we used to work together, and he would take time off work to follow his dream. He told me he wanted to take time off work to follow this passion, and it's paid off, obviously. If you don't mind, I wanted to talk about what was going through mentally when you were first starting out. That first Slime Rancher video, like what was the big goal out of that one?
So the big goal with this like Slime Rancher video, my first ever video, obviously, was just to kind of start. I didn't really expect like anything. I wasn't like set to blow up off that one alone.
Right.
But I kept putting off like actually starting. And so I just needed to like it's essentially ripping the bandage off. And so because I did that, and then the next video was easier to make because I'd now experienced it myself, and then so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, that one was just get my foot in the door, figure out what I'm doing, don't be a big old doofus.
Right, yeah. I mean, in the beginning of this interview, I admitted I didn't want to be a doofus. So it's a shared fear. That's honestly the hardest part is just starting, taking that leap.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest pieces of advice I've got if you want to do anything creative is to start doing something creative.
What are you playing right now, like in your free time? What big games are you excited about right now?
I'm excited for Pinocchio. No, it's called Life of Pi, I think. No, that's the movie. What is it? No, it is Life of Pi.
Did I say movie or did I say game?
You said game.
Okay.
It's Lies of P.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is.
I was like, wait. I didn't know if, when doing like this as a career, I didn't know if you would get easily burnt out on playing video games or with the state, video games are coming out now. They're, unfinished.
Pathetic.
Broken, yeah.
It's a Souls-like. Looks like it's going to be really good. I love Souls-likes. They're hard, and I can't really play them on my channel.
I gotcha.
So that's kind of my game that's just for me and me alone.
Nice. I respect that. What kind of equipment were you rocking with? Like the day one setup?
Day one setup was an AT2020. Eventually, I moved on to the Shure SM7B. I just saved up my money and made the purchase.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just use this and hope for the best. I mean,
you might have deleted these videos. I don't know. As far back as I've found, it was just Slime Rancher right now. But I remember the first couple videos you put out. I remember you asked me you were having some audio trouble. My point to that is, how did you work around that? Or what made you finally have that aha moment and finally like overcame that challenge?
Well, I'm not 100% sure on what the audio issues were. I did a lot of like just YouTubing and mini, like weren't even like actual real recordings. It was just myself like talking to the mic and then just trying to figure out what sounded best.
Just trial and error, pretty much.
Yeah, essentially.
I feel like that's all audio is. Like even from my perspective as someone in the audio, universe, that world, I feel like that is all it is just trial and error until it sounds good to your ear and people stop complaining about how bad the audio is. Was there any other technical or even personal difficulties or challenges you faced when starting up YouTube, like starting up your channel?
Technical, not really. I mean, OBS is free and it's also like the best program in the world, especially now. It's insane.
I've never used it.
You should if you ever want to make videos. You can separate audio sources.
Really?
I could have you on a Discord audio track, a game on a different, and my mic on a different, which is what I do. Getting Discord worked. I had that part-time job, so I just paid for Premiere.
Gotcha.
And then just kind of went from there, learned how to edit over time.
YouTube, I imagine.
Yeah. Granted, this, took me 2 years, so
right.
Whenever a kid like tells you their dream or what they like want to do, and then you go, "That's good, champ," Like that happened for a while, and since I'm 20 years old, was pretty annoying. But I mean, people didn't understand what it was.
And I can imagine that frustration, but I can only imagine how you feel right now. And you can tell those people, I said I was going to do this, and look at me now.
Yeah, I've received a few apologies.
That's got to be an amazing feeling too.
One of my friends cried when they found out how much I made, and were like, "Wow, I'm so sorry that I ever like doubted any of this."
Yeah, man.
Like that's insane what you're doing. I was like, well, me.
Any other personal challenges that you overcame?
Nothing like major. I mean, obviously life doesn't stop no matter what you're doing. So I don't want to say lucked out because it's horrible, but I mean, I kind of lucked out with COVID because then everyone went on lockdown and it was just, oh no, what am I going to do? I'm alone where my hobby is of my new thing I want to try and do.
Yeah.
Also, everyone started watching a lot more media. I mean, hey, kind of grateful, kind of upset.
I guess my next question would be, when did you find your voice? Because you were on a podcast episode called Uno Mas, and I heard you come up with stories for your videos. I didn't know what, let me think. I don't know where this voice comes from, like the creative side of you. I just never took you as a creative storyteller. I just didn't know what made you find that voice.
I guess almost born out of necessity.
Okay.
Because, I mean, obviously, if your videos aren't good, people don't watch.
Right. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, so there's a lot of ways to make something entertaining. And it can either be by visuals or, jokes or sound effects, whatever. And so it's kind of trying to find a hybrid between them that, like, works and makes sense. And so for me, I mean, it was, again, a lot of trial and error. That's all any YouTube thing is ever. But so I just, would start to look at what other people were doing, what I thought worked, what I, enjoyed, and just tried to really figure it out there. And I mean, you're right. I'm really not the most creative person in the world.
No one's worded like that. I never took you for a storyteller.
That's fair. That is fair.
In terms of like a comedic sense, I think you're very creative in that sense. You never fail to make me laugh. Like every time I watch your videos or every time we, hang out in person.
It's one of those things where like you kind of just learn how to do it a little bit better. Your job then performs better.
Kind of like bashing your head up against a wall until, it works.
Yeah, and I mean, storytelling's just a skill. It's not like you just are born with it and then you're stuck. Like, you will only ever be able to tell a story this good. It's all about kind of finding it.
Could you tell me any creative workarounds that you're like, oh man, I can't believe I'm so clever. I figured out this solution to the problem so easily, and now I can, continue forward with what I was doing. Like, do you have any stories like that?
I mean, I discovered a program called Time Bolt, which like cuts out blank spaces in long recordings, kind of all my videos. And so that saved me a ton of time. I guess I finally stopped being lazy one day and made keyboard shortcuts for my editing. That was another big time save there.
Learning the keyboard shortcuts.
Yeah. It's crazy how game changing that can be.
Are you still using Premiere primarily?
Yeah, I mean, I have editors now, but that's kind of same industry standard type as everyone uses Premiere.
My main workhorse is iMovie, which I state in my videos sometimes. My Mac doesn't have a lot of space on it. What'll happen is I'll get a little error message. It'll say like, you can't do anything on the computer because there's you hit max storage. Like you need to get rid of something. And I'm like, what could it possibly be?
Yeah.
So I go on like, iMovie documents and all that. It's taking up like 50 gigs on my computer.
Wow.
What I would do, I would export the whole project, delete whatever data was on iMovie. I guess it was the render files is what made it so big. Yeah, I would export that, delete everything, and then put that export in a new iMovie project, and then repeat this cycle until the video was done, pretty much. So that's my creative workaround to not paying for Premiere.
No, yeah, that's good.
And it's like you said earlier, if you keep doing something long enough, eventually you just get it. Like you'll get good at it.
All just practicing a lot.
Yep. What's some advice you would give your younger self? Like in terms of like YouTube or creating anything, like what advice in that sense would you give your younger self?
Younger as in like when I was a kid, or younger as in like when I started?
I don't know, 9 years old. And your future self comes back in time and is like, hey, you're going to make a lot of money being a YouTuber. and then you just vanish. And then the younger kid's like, what the hell? Probably never come true.
Probably to just start sooner. I mean, I think about the fact that if I would have started like 2 years earlier, like how much better off I could be. And the only reason I didn't start, 2 years earlier was because I was afraid of like judgment.
I feel like that's everyone's response too. They wish they started earlier and stopped pretty much living for other people's happiness.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, well, in the beginning, we didn't want to play the fool. What do you do when you feel stuck creatively?
I just kind of look and see what other people have been doing, because that's I mean, how I started was I just wanted to do what others were. So just kind of back to square one, and then, I'm like, oh, that's a fun idea. I wonder if I can do it this way, or I wonder if I can do it in this game.
Pretty much good artists borrow, great artists steal.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much. I said that in my last video, like word for word. You've accumulated a lot of success in a short amount of time. 2 years, I feel like that's pretty short amount of time. Is there someone or is there something you accredit this spike in viewership, like your duck video that's got 7 million?
Yep.
Is there someone or something you accredit the success of that video to, for example?
I think the success of that Duck Life video came from a guy by the name of Trippy Pepper.
Okay.
Who did he did a Duck Life mod. It was a niche that had never been hit before. People loved it. But he did it like a month or some after my Duck Life video went out. So he made it, had a smash hit. The world was like, wow, we love it, we love it. And then I think I was like one of the only few other human beings on the planet who had a Duck Life video out on YouTube. So the algorithm was like, well, gotta give him this one. And then, I mean, I'd been, not just throwing up whatever I felt like. I'd been trying to make targeted good content. So once like 10,000 people saw that and were like, let me check out what else this guy got. Then, YouTube was like, wow, this guy ain't half bad, actually. Hold on. I'm liking this.
We've been sleeping on I'm Cade. Okay, that's interesting. So pretty much the main theme I've been running through this whole video is just finding your voice through limitations, and everything you've said is pretty much like point for point, like what I'm driving home is that like the creative process has so much unpredictability in it, and it's just nice to have that sense of adaptability to work with those problems, and maybe working around those problems, your inner voice comes out, like your true self. Some of those workarounds make their way into people's art. I just find it very interesting, everything I've found and researched. Everything you've been saying, like point for point, is like what everyone goes through with those difficulties. Working with very little and seeing a lot of success out of it is the main point I wanted to get through into that video. I got one more question, I believe, and then I think we're about done.
Oh, all right.
You obviously have a voice that a lot of people gravitate towards. What do you think people look forward to in your videos?
I don't know. I like to think it's just my unserious, just playing a game to have fun with the game kind of nature.
Very welcoming atmosphere.
I'm hoping it's that, but I mean, who knows? Could be.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe some people just like the fact that I murder stuff, and it's no more interesting than that, which, I mean, it's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You're not spitting any bars, dropping any philosophical.
Well, just a guy killing a bug.
You're just a guy being a guy, man. Hello?
Hello?
I'm just fucking with you. All right, man. That's all the questions I had. Is there any closing remarks that you wanted to add on top of that idea of whatever I texted you?
Things. No, I mean, I thought you covered it pretty well with just all of those. Nice little series of questions.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to try to do more interview stuff on YouTube.
Yep.
And I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Of course, man. I love you.
I love you too, bro. Me and Cade known each other for years.
Becky.
We take baths together, bro.
That was last week.
That was last week.